You've finished your manuscript. Congrats! You've heard formatting is expensive and you're wondering, can I just do this myself? And honestly, maybe you can. But most authors don't know what you don't know, you know?
Yeah, before Rose came along with her professional design skills, back when I was just self-publishing my own book, I used to spend days trying to fix hidden word codes and getting my files rejected over and over.
You might think that formatting your book is just choosing a font and making nice headings and hitting upload, but the truth is your formatting can break your books in ways you don't even see coming. Formatting is invisible when it's right, but painfully obvious when it's done wrong.
Yeah, so today we're going to help you figure out whether do-it-yourself formatting makes sense for your book or whether hiring a professional will save your sanity.
It's me! I'm a professional! I'm the book designer at Alkira Publishing.
Ah, yes, and I am Talia. I am the managing editor at Alkira Publishing.
And we help authors publish books they can be proud of.
When I self-published my first book, I wanted to do it as cheaply as possible, obviously. And I heard that you could do it yourself in Word. I read a book on it and I figured, yeah, I can do that. I thought it would be simple, but if the file doesn't fit the printer's requirements, the publishing platforms just reject it. And getting it right wasn't as easy as I thought it would be.
And once you find out how many tiny conventions and technical requirements are involved, you realize that formatting isn't just about being able to do the technical side, it's also about knowing the actual rules.
Yeah, I started formatting my books with no training, right, apart from reading a how-to book, which was pretty good actually. But every time something went wrong, I had no idea why. I spent days and days on my first book, and even later books took me multiple sessions, and it never got easier. Every single time. I literally ended up with a headache and probably more wrinkles from hunching over a computer and frowning. I drew to dread the formatting stage of publishing.
Which is hilarious because it's my favourite part of the book design.
Oh, thank goodness. First, I thought I just needed to fix a few errors, right? But then Smashwords, who are now Draft to Digital, rejected my ebook for the third time and I just broke. I knew that I would have to start over, clear all the formatting and reformat all from scratch. Put in the italics again and all the headings, everything. And I said, nah, I just can't do it anymore. Ebooks are the worst. Even when I moved to using Scrivener to format ebooks, I still had rejections. They gave me error codes I couldn't read, and even after looking up their meaning, I still had no idea how to fix them.
Yeah, and then when Ingram Spark rejected your PDF because the fonts weren't embedded and you'd already tried to fix that twice.
Yeah, and I knew how I was supposed to do it, fix it, but I couldn't manage to do it, you know, and I'm not dumb. But literally, I nearly cried, right? I had extra blank pages appearing out of nowhere. They weren't in the Word document, they were in the PDF.
That's so frustrating.
I know, and I just couldn't fix anything. And when Rose said she could take over, I just felt my whole body relax.
Yeah, authors don't need to be wasting time trying to be formatting experts. You should be writing and not tearing your hair out about error codes.
I totally agree. That's why it was such a relief to have somebody else do it for me.
Yeah, so aside from being rejected from platforms, let's talk about just some of what actually goes into formatting, the stuff that most authors don't see or think about. I mean, the first thing is using a baseline grid. Now, this is something you might not even know the words. So this is making sure that the lines of text actually line up across the margin of the book so that when you open the book, everything's sort of in one line. Indenting and italics, these have different conventions. So knowing when to use an indent, how much to indent, when to use italics, and how much italicized text you can have before it has to become a block quote, and that's got its own separate set of rules. Then there's things like gutter and margin sizing. So KDP and Ingram Spark will list the minimum amounts for these, but you need to give them a lot more space than that to actually leave space for the book binding and, you know, a reader's thumbs. It takes experience to get this right, and if you've never done it before, it can be a nightmare to try and figure that out. That's not to mention all the nitty-gritty typography elements like rivers and runs, which are those weird blank spaces that can happen throughout a justified paragraph. Widows and orphans, which are single lines of paragraphs that are either sort of at the end of one page and then the rest of the paragraphs on the other page, or vice versa if it's just left behind. You know what I mean.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
And then there's runts.
Runts.
Yes,
the little guys.
The little guys. Runts is literally the little guy that's one single word alone on a line at the end of a paragraph.
Oh, no.
So a professional design program has ways of managing all of these so that they're minimized throughout the book, and then the designer only has to do a little bit of manual looking at it. But if you're doing it in Word, I don't think there's any. If you're trying to fix all these manually, you'll just go nuts. You may not even know to look for them.
Yeah. Well, I knew to look for. I just altered the words, rewrote the sentence so it had less words.
Oh
in
my God, that's
solved the problem.
terrible.
But it's not. I mean, it's
Definitely
not recommended.
not recommended. Yeah, you'd go mad doing that.
Yeah.
Then, of course, there's converting into a reflowable ebook format, which, if you haven't set it up right, can become a whole different headache in its own right. These aren't preferences, they're industry standards.
Yeah, and if you are trying to do it in Word, it hides formatting codes like a mischievous little gremlin. So even with the show formatting button on, you just can't see the hidden formatting. So it can look fine in Word, but as soon as you make a PDF or an ebook, you can find that your formatting looks nothing like what you thought it did.
And bad formatting isn't just ugly, it has consequences. As we've said, your files can be rejected. If it does get accepted, but a reader doesn't like it, it's going to either look indie and have, reader credibility issues, and you could get some 1-star reviews.
It's like the self-published books that have hardly any margin, and you go, they're trying to fit a lot of words in the page so that, it uses less pages. It's like,
no, it's because KDP said 13 mils.
Yeah, and it looks terrible. Anyway, trust me, nothing kills your confidence as a self-publisher faster than a rejection codes you don't understand.
Nightmare.
Right, one of those error messages about some technical thing that when you look up what it means, you don't even understand the explanation. And I'll put one of them on the screen.
Honestly, DIY can work. A lot of the modern programs available, which weren't around when you were doing yours, they've tried to make it easier for DIY authors. So if you're on a tight budget and you've got a simple textbook with no images or tables or complex formatting, and you're willing to put in the time to learn, then it could be the right choice for you.
Yeah, people say Vellum or Atticus are simple, and I'm sure they are once you know what you're doing, but you still have to learn the software, which can take a lot of time, and I've seen authors on forums still get stuck with error codes in their books even after using that kind of software. It's ebooks.
Yeah, ebooks particularly. And they've, every program's going to have its own limitations. If your book is straightforward and you're willing to learn, DIY is totally fine. But professional formatting is worth it when things get more complex.
Also, if you want a specific font to match your cover, because those programs tend to have, you just pick a chapter format which has got a font with it, and it looks nice, but it's not related specifically to your book.
So the standard with books that I format is the title font that's used on the cover will also be used on the interior, and I've also got the ability, because I'm doing it in a professional program that has a lot of customization ability, I can add these decorative elements in the print book that link back to the front cover design. So if you want a high level of customization in your book, then it's worth getting a professional to do it, because those do-it-yourself programs have
they have set looks.
They have set looks. So I'd also recommend getting a professional formatter if you've got a non-fiction book or a children's book that has a lot of images, tables, lists, or anything that's got lots of block quotes, scene breaks, like written letters, all of which have specific formatting requirements to adhere to industry standards. Or if you've just tried it yourself and you've been rejected too many times and you just wanted someone else to do it, that's totally fine too. And your time is valuable, so it's really about where you want to spend your time.
I just found, for me, it was like such a relief to just not have to think about it, to just hand it over to someone and say, make me a cover, do the interior, and it's all done, and I don't have to think about it.
Especially if you hire someone who does both covers and interiors, you'll get that continuity from coming through from the cover into the interior, so the whole thing will look like a beautiful, well-designed package. So hiring a professional isn't about your capability, it's about where your time is best spent. With a professional doing the formatting, you can rest easy knowing it's going to be done properly with no issues.
Yeah, and sometimes your time is worth more than days of headaches. But what amazed me though was that when we were planning this video, Rose picked up one of my books published before she started doing formatting, and she'd done the cover for this one, but she hadn't done interior formatting, and she opened the book and she took one look at it. She said, "Oh no, I didn't do that one." And I was, "How did you know?" "Just by looking at it."
I'll show you. This is your one you did in Word, right?
I'm embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed.
So the title is quite small, and the gap between the title and the text is also very small. Now, this can be a method of personal preference. It's just more that I knew that I didn't format it. But the main tell on this is that you've got an indent at the beginning of the chapter, which is not industry standard at all. And there's no drop caps, which, again, you can choose to not have a drop caps, but it's pretty normal these days to have a drop cap at the beginning.
It is a mark of kind of professional, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a mark
I'm
of
just so embarrassed about this. This is a great series. I just have to
We need to redo the formatting.
Yeah, I know. I've got to get round to redoing the formatting, but I'm so busy publishing other people's books these days that, you know.
I mean, you can choose to format your book how you like, but I know how I like my books to look, and that wasn't it.
Yeah, I mean, I could have noticed no drop cap, but not the heading size or spacing. I mean, I have no clue about what's appropriate or not when it comes to that kind of thing.
That's an aesthetic. Other DIY tells, as I said before, are margins that are too small, indents in the first paragraph of a chapter, and those uneven justification of words on the page, the runts, all of those things.
I used to think formatting was just a chore. Well, it was. But now I see it's part of how we honour our work. Like, was I really saving money when it was taking me so much time and frustration to get it right? A well-formatted book respects the reader and the story.
Time is money, and you know, you don't have to suffer headaches over formatting when you could be writing your next book if you hire a pro.
So if you're struggling, you're not alone. Right? I've been exactly where you are, overwhelmed, defeated, ready to give up. But there is a way through. If you stick at it, you will learn. I managed to get a decent looking product by doing it myself. I just found the process of getting that product very time consuming and frustrating. Now, Rose does it with professional software in a quarter of a time it took me. So you just have to decide whether that's how you want to spend your time. And honestly, if you can afford to hire a professional, why do it yourself?
And whether you do it yourself or hire a professional, you owe it to that amazing story you wrote to make it look good.
Yeah.
There are tools out there for authors who also want to be publishers. Let us know in the comments if after this video you're still planning on formatting your book yourself.
And if you don't want the fuss, the headaches, or the steep learning curve, then contact Rose at Alkera Publishing. She's here to help.
I love book formatting.
Yeah, that is what...
I find it really relaxing. I honestly like it.
But you see, you know the software, like you're at ease with the software.
Once you know, I mean, of course, once you know the software, it's easy. But
and
also, I just enjoy it.
That's great. You know, I mean, I just never enjoyed it.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button, like, and share.
Bye.